We're back. Thanks for staying with us. Our police department does a lot of work to keep the crime rate low in this city. They've been doing a good job with it. And that also includes work with other agencies. So to talk to us about that today is Tasha Carter with the state's Department of Financial Services, the Florida Department of Financial Services. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, Chief John Bolduc of the city's Port St. Lucie Police Department. Thank you for joining us as well.
Hi, Ed.
Good to have you here. So we'll start with Tasha. You've come down all the way from Tallahassee for an important event coming up, and to go out and let people know about an important issue from the state level on adult financial exploitation. What's that all about?
Well, statistics show that 1 out of every 5 adults aged 65 and older have been the victim of a financial fraud or scam. And so what Chief Financial Officer Jeff Atwater wants to do is to make sure that we educate, we empower, and we provide seniors with the information and the resources they need in order to protect themselves from falling victim to these scams. And so we've established a new program called Operation S.A.F.E, and S.A.F.E stands for Stop Adult Financial Exploitation. And underneath the Operation S.A.F.E initiative, we are traveling across the state to host Be Scam Smart workshops. And these workshops are designed to provide information to seniors, their families, and caregivers, all in an effort to help them identify and recognize potential scams and protect themselves from falling victim.
Great. So you'll be doing this here in Port St. Lucie?
Absolutely.
Give us the date and time and place of that, please. And we can get into the details later, but let's just get that out there now.
Okay. The date of the workshop here in Port St. Lucie is going to be on Thursday, June 19th. It begins at 10 a.m. and it's going to be located at the Port St. Lucie Community Center. And
you mentioned not only open to seniors, but to families and anybody else with an interest as well?
Absolutely. Everybody can learn from some of the tips and the information that we're going to provide on how to be scam smart.
Okay. And why does this come from the Department of Financial Services? How does that relate?
Well, with CFO Atwater being the state's Chief Financial Officer, one of his top priorities is to ensure that all Floridians, but especially our seniors, have the information and resources they need in order to make informed financial decisions and keep their hard-earned money in their pocket where it belongs.
Sure.
And so this initiative really falls under that top priority, and it's just one additional effort that the CFO is doing to help Florida's consumers.
Do you find that often the solution or the way that something could have been prevented would have been a little education and just letting people know?
Absolutely. Some of the things that we found out is even when financial exploitation against seniors is reported, oftentimes these perpetrators are not caught, they're not identified, and they're not subsequently prosecuted under the law because they use so many technological devices that assist them in perpetuating these scams against seniors. And so what we want to do is we want to empower the seniors up front so that they don't even become a victim and they don't have to worry about being made whole or going through an entire justice system.
Is there kind of an imbalance of information there where the seniors may not be as tech savvy, the latest of all these devices, social media, that constant explosion of information, personal data coming out in every kind of which way? Is that a factor?
Absolutely, that is a factor. These individuals that target seniors are looking for individuals that are not technologically savvy, that are polite and trusting, that have excellent credit, that own their own home, that have those assets that are very attractive to these perpetrators. And in addition, they're also looking for those seniors who are vulnerable, who may be in situations where they require professionals to come in to their homes to provide services to them, like home health care or home maintenance type services. By virtue of these professionals coming into their homes, they are at an advantage because now they are able to establish a trusting and a dependency relationship with that senior, and they're also able to potentially gain access to personal financial documents and information by virtue of being in that senior's homes. So that's absolutely a factor.
Sure. It sounds, the risk seems to be pretty high once you've got somebody inside the door.
Yes.
Chief Bolduc, this seems to go along with one of the big efforts that you make, which is public education. We've had you on the show many times before talking about the need for the public to be aware of these things.
Well, Ed, anytime we can prevent crime, like Ms. Carter said before, anytime we can prevent the crime, we don't have to investigate it. And it's much easier to prevent than it is to apprehend the suspect, especially when it's perpetrated across the internet. Here in Port St. Lucie, we've seen a lot of these types of crimes You know, we used to say in fraud, when we would give people fraud prevention tips, we'd say, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Well, that's not good enough anymore. And this is a great opportunity for us to partner with the experts from the state and bring the information out to our seniors here in Port St. Lucie. These new scams are much more sophisticated. In the old days, they would try to get a little bit of money so that you could get a lot. You know, they promise you a lot of money if you put up a little front money, and that was the standard pigeon drop type scam. These days, they're doing all kinds of things. They'll call and offer, or they'll call and say your grandson's in trouble and you need to wire bail money to him, and give you the information to wire the money to. Or we had one here in Port St. Lucie, the guy called and said, and he called a lot of our residents, over a half a dozen, and said he was Lieutenant Little from the Port St. Lucie Police Department. He had unpaid fines, and if you wanted to clear it up right now before you went to jail, give us your credit card information. Wow. And that turned out to be a gang in a Georgia prison that was perpetrating that fraud.
From within the prison?
From within the prison.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot more sophisticated these days, and you can't just use if it sounds too good to be true. You know, don't be a victim of greed, your own greed. That doesn't work anymore.
And so there is no Lieutenant Little on the Port St. Lucie Police Department.
There is no Lieutenant Little on the Port St. Lucie, and we don't collect unpaid parking fines over the phone.
It is such a cat and mouse game, but I will point out, as we mentioned when you were on the show a few weeks ago, Port St. Lucie's crime rate has fallen again for 2013, another 19%?
Another 19%, yes.
That's fantastic to hear, but you're always in this cat and mouse game. It's an endless struggle.
We are, and like I've told you many times, crime prevention is one of the keys to our success, and this Operation S.A.F.E is an excellent crime prevention seminar.
So you've been using some great new innovative data analysis techniques to look at things like burglaries and people breaking into cars, and you've been very effective at diminishing those kinds of crimes. But when you're talking about some group in a Georgia prison, or the other side of the globe for that matter, Port St. Lucie police can't monitor all of them.
That's true.
So the solution is education.
Is education and prevention.
Well, it's an important topic because people, I guess, you get ripped off, you could lose a life savings. You could people are retired. What a disaster that would be. Tasha, you probably hear the stories all the time, I'm going to assume.
Yes, definitely. We hear stories from, as we travel the state, we talk to seniors that are attending the Be Scam Smart workshops, and it never fails that there are a handful of seniors there that always want to share their testimony and share their experiences in order to help someone else prepare themselves from falling victim to those scams.
Right, great. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back with you and talk about what you'll be talking about at this event a little bit more. We'll let Chief Bolduc go, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Chief Bolduc, thanks for joining us for this sad part of the show.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
All right. Thank you. And we'll be back after this quick message. Thanks for staying with us. We're talking to Tasha Carter of the Florida Department of Financial Services about a special program coming up to help educate seniors and their families about how to stay safe from ripoffs and scams. And joining us now on this set is also Franklin Nickens with the Community Development Outreach Organization that is here in Port St. Lucie and doing so much for our community. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Ed. It's always a pleasure.
Franklin, you've been on the program before. You and your organization does a whole lot for young people
yes.
in this community, and that's fantastic. But now it's connecting to seniors as well.
Yes.
So you're involved in this. I know you're sponsoring this event coming up along with the police department.
Right.
So let's talk about what the Community Development Outreach Organization is doing to help get the word out.
Okay, one of the things that we're looking at is when we're dealing with our teens, because we teach teens how to do home repair for seniors who are low income and disabled. When we send the teens out, we want to educate them on how to spot some of the things that are going on. And you know, I'm looking here at the flyer, it says how to spot fraudulent behavior. We want to train the teens to look at those kinds of things, because when they go to see a senior, if a senior is reluctant to talk to them, that means they've been hurt before. or they've been scammed before. And we want to win back their trust in the community, especially dealing with teens when they hear all the bad stuff. They never hear about the good stuff. So this is an excellent opportunity for us to train the teens up on how to spot fraudulent behavior, how to spot scam artists, how to be educated on the things that are coming on the websites and the emails, such as a lady said today, she saw an ad in the newspaper for lint, dryer lint cleaning for $25. And I said 9 times out of 10, it's a scam to get in your house to see what you have so they can come back later.
Wow.
And she says, well, what do you mean? I said, it costs a heck of a lot more than $25 to clean my dryer. And for $25, come on. And they run an ad. So she says, well, why would the newspaper run an ad like that? It's all about revenue, how they can make the dollar.
And they may not realize anyway.
Exactly.
You know, they don't know what
they're basically going on trust issues that we are a business, we're going to supply this type of service, and we want to run an advertisement in your newspaper. So just put it in there.
And it looks legitimate. It gives an air of credibility by being in the newspaper.
Exactly. So we're teaching our teens how to spot those type of scams by also calling the Department of Professional Regulation to see if there's even a license for that organization. Because we have partners that are contractors who go out and train the teens as well, we have to make sure that their credibility is good.
Let's back up for a minute. So the community development outreach normally works with young people. Getting them, one of the things you're doing is getting them an education in some skills.
Vocational training.
Vocational training.
Financial literacy. And career development.
So because they now know something about how to build or fix plumbing or make some house repairs,
right,
they're going to go help out these elderly people who maybe can't do this themselves.
Exactly.
And so since you have these people there, now they can be pretty swift and aware of any of these scams.
Well, you have to look at, it's a twofold focus. They are going to adopt a senior for once a month reassurance phone calls. That's going to become their adopted grandparent. So there's going to be an accountability every 30 days of what that senior might need. Well, if she has a trust in those youth to help them understand what's going on, or some of the phone calls, or somebody coming to the door, they can report that back to us where we can't be everywhere. Does that make a lot of sense?
Oh, you found a real creative way to connect some dots here from somebody with some resources to somebody who needs some help, and kind of brought them together.
Well, it's a niche program because our seniors are a wealth of knowledge. And they have all this knowledge and nobody to pour it into because they can't see their grandchildren because they're 2,500 miles away, they ticked off their child, and now the child says, you can't see your grandchildren. Well, that brings about exploitation of what you talk about because they find out, such as I saw on Facebook, they want to know, where'd you go to high school? Where were you born? Well, they pick up this information to backtrack it and find out little things about you and family members, and then they start using those names for emails, phone calls, to see what they can get from you. Well, if we train our teens what to look for, if they're getting those kinds of phone conversations, they can overhear and, you know, put some footnotes down and say, you know, maybe you need to talk to somebody before you make a decision.
And earlier in our last segment, Tasha was talking about that imbalance where the young people know some things that the older folks don't. Of course, the older folks have some real wisdom to offer too, but here's where you can kind of pick up and fill in that gap a little bit. Somebody who's a little bit savvy about what's going on with the technology and what the real truth of that is. Those kids, they know this stuff inside and out usually.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of our seniors don't even know how to read the emails properly. So we want to utilize the youth to teach them how to do that.
Right.
When they're doing that home visit once a month and they're doing the assessment, you know, hey, we're going to put a laptop computer in front of you, and if you're ready, we're going to show you how to open up an email. Or you don't have one, let's help you set up a free one, and every 30 days we come back, we're going to help you do some emailing.
Wow.
That gives them the opportunity to start getting educated in those areas, and then they feel like they're useful.
Okay. So we got the connection there. So now let's talk about the event itself. Tasha, you're going to be, your organization will be there speaking. What do you tell these people beyond look out, be careful, don't trust somebody, or like the Chief said, it's just not a simple message anymore. So where do you begin? How do you sort through these things?
Well, individuals that are going to attend the Be Scam Smart workshops are going to get a wealth of information. We're going to share with them some statistics related to senior financial exploitation that really illustrates how huge of an issue this is. We are also going to share with them some specific information on the psychology of a scam. That it means the specific tactics that these individuals will use when they're attempting to try to get a senior to invest in a risky product or make a purchase or give them some personal financial information. Then we're going to share with them specific scams that are prevalent in the senior community, where seniors are your primary targets. And as we are sharing and talking about those specific scams, we're going to share with them how to identify the scam, how the scam actually works, what phrases are actually used by the scam artist, and then at the end we give them tips on how they can protect themselves from falling victim to that very scam. And some of the scams that we share with them is the grandparent scam, where in almost every workshop that we've attended throughout the state, there has been several seniors within that workshop that have indicated that they have been contacted by the grandparent scam. We even had a senior in Sarasota County that shared with us that they were contacted by the grandparent scam and they were scammed out of $8,000. We also talk about the romance scam, which is becoming a more prevalent scam.
What is the romance scam? You got my curiosity going with that one.
Well, the romance scam has really become prevalent based upon the large number of online dating websites that exist now.
Okay.
And so these seniors who are vulnerable and potentially looking for companionship are now going out and connecting with individuals through these online dating websites, and individuals are being able to take advantage of them.
Some slick rat wants to try to get in there and take advantage of that.
That's it.
Absolutely. And I've had one senior that shared her testimony where she was scammed out of $135,000 by an individual simply by meeting that person through an online dating website. And so we want to share that information with the seniors. And then lastly, we share with them some of the major red flags that they should be aware of. For instance, making sure that you are not establishing dependency relationships with individuals that you don't know. Making sure that you're shredding your personal financial documents, your bank statements, your credit card statements, even something as simple as a credit card solicitation or pre-approval for a credit card. Those types of documents should be shredded as well, not just simply tossed in the trash to be available for anybody to potentially gain access to. And then we also share with them not to allow anyone to rush you into making a decision. Make sure that you have all of the questions answered that you want. Make sure that you are absolutely comfortable. Make sure that you afford yourself time to talk with a professional if you desire so before you make that decision. A lot of these individuals that contact seniors, especially over the phone or in person, are encouraging them to make a decision quickly.
They want them,
they're putting that pressure on them. They're wanting them to make that decision solely based on the information that they're sharing with them at that time. Because if they allow that senior to walk away without making that decision, then oftentimes they're not going to be able to effectuate the scam.
Right, and that's the goal.
Absolutely.
That's the goal, to shut them down.
Absolutely.
Like the Chief said, better to stop them before you have to deal with it afterward.
Absolutely.
Especially if the crooks are hundreds of thousands of miles away.
Correct.
And that's one of the things we teach is if they won't allow you to stop and at least pray and make a decision, shut the phone off.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Any legitimate professional business should understand that. And if they don't, that's not a business to do business with.
Exactly.
Great. Franklin, why don't you give us the date and time of this important event one more time?
That date is going to be June 19th, 2014, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And it's going to be at the Community Center, which is right across the street at 2195 Southeast Aroso Boulevard, Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Thank you, Tasha Carter. If somebody wants to know more, is there a way they can contact you or look up some more information?
Absolutely. They can go to our website at www.myfloridacfo.com/SAFE.
Very good. Really appreciate that you're taking this important program on the road, bringing it to our community. I know our city council is happy for every effort that there is to try to stop this kind of stuff. Yes. And we really appreciate your coming to Port St. Lucie to make that happen. Franklin Nickens, always a pleasure to have you in here.
Thank you, sir.
I know you're a hard-working guy connecting these things that maybe nobody put together before, but you're putting them together in
Well,
a great way.
we like to be behind the scenes,
So
we don't have to showcase.
But you're getting the word out. You're gonna some crook's gonna get stopped hopefully because
Absolutely.
of this. And that's
We
the goal.
intend to stop them in their tracks.
That's it. Fantastic. Appreciate you both for coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
All right.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after this quick message. Stay with us.